Hi there! As I promised you, the Tasks app is ready. If you are new on my channel, hit the subscribe button. This channel is specialized only for Flutter tutorials, and now I am uploading real Flutter app tutorials with step-by-step explanations. By the real app tutorials, you will increase your Flutter skills and experience much more. Now I will introduce the whole functionality of the application. First, you can add new task by the floating action button or by plus button in the app bar. Let's add new tasks. Here, by expansion panel, you can see the whole title text and description text. Why do I also add task title here? Because in some cases you might have big title like this. And if you want, you can copy it. Here, these stars mean whether your task is marked as favorite or not, and you can mark it here by a pop-up window. Your all favorite tasks are in the Favorites tab. And when you check the checkbox, the task moves to Completed Tasks tab. And in the Favorites tab, it's also checked. Next, delete function. Delete this favorite task too. And it's also removed from Favorites tab. And it's here in the bin folder, completed favorite task too. And here in the pop-up window, there are two options: delete permanently or restore. If you press restore, it will go back to pending tasks tab as it's not favorite and unchecked. But created time remains the same. Next, edit function. Let's edit this task too. When you save edited task, its created time will be changed, and it will go to the top of the list. And now let's edit completed favorite task. Again, it will go to pending tasks tab, but it remains as a favorite. By the way, note that this Tasks app tutorial is made using Flutter BLoC pattern. Before watching Tasks app tutorial, I highly recommend you to watch the previous Flutter BLoC state management tutorial, so that you understand Tasks app tutorial easily. The tutorial will appear at the end of the screen. Next, changing app theme. Now, watch the whole app in dark mode. Next, delete only one task permanently or delete all tasks. If you press delete all tasks, they will be deleted permanently. Or you can use delete permanently in the pop-up window of the task itself to delete the task permanently. You will learn all of the above and more other amazing Flutter widgets in this tutorial. Martin Luther King once said that you don't have to see all the steps of a big staircase. You just have to take the first step to start the climbing them. So good luck on your start! This is an initial project. You can download it by the link in the description. And more thing, I'm a user of VS Code just because it's quite light and easy to code with simple shortcuts. If you want to install it, check out my channel video and there is Flutter installation tutorial with VS Code, or simply click the card appearing on the top right. So, let's start! First, create tasks model. We use Equitable and Flutter BLoC package in the project. Equitable package is the best package to auto-compare model properties, and it also installed all the extensions which we use in the project. BLoC, Dart data class generator, Dart import, PubSpec assist. So, go to PubSpec YAML file, press Ctrl-Shift-P and search PubSpec assist. Select it and type package name, Flutter BLoC and Equitable. The two packages added and run Flutter pub-get command. Save and close. Now, create task model class. At the beginning, we need task title. Is done, which is a boolean, and is deleted, which is also boolean. Put the mouse cursor on the class name and press Ctrl+dot and select Generate Constructor. And here we initialize booleans if they are equal to null. Double quotation mark means if is done equal to null. Again, Ctrl+dot, now we generate copy with method. Next, generate JSON serialization. Here we don't actually need Dart convert, because we don't use encode and decode functions. We only need to map and from map. Last thing, this class extends Equitable package. Create its override method. And insert all class properties. That's all with this module class. Now, we create temporary tasks list. Later, I delete it. We implement List View Builder to see this task list on the screen. List View Builder is used for unlimited lists. It has item builder and item count. . Item count takes its value by task list length. Item Builder returns list style. List style is also one of the best widgets because it has title, subtitle, leading, trailing, on tape, and many other useful properties. We separate tasks by index and implement each task in list style. Title is equal to task title. And for trailing, we implement checkbox. Leave unchanged empty by now. And value is task is done. Run the project and we have an error because of adding list view inside the column without giving proper constraint. By default, the list view takes all the available space in a vertical direction and the column widget does not add any constraint on its children's height. Hence, it becomes difficult for the Flutter to calculate the size of the list view. You can wrap your list view builder widget inside the expanded widget, and this will allow you the list view to take all the available as long as the column allows. Hot restart and now we have no error. Next, now we implement task list using BLoC. For that, create a folder for blocks and inside it create a Dart file for BLoC exports. And now, create BLoC. This comes from BLoC extension. And give BLoC name, which is tasks in our case. And here, BLoC auto creates 3 BLoC files. Let's implement them one by one. First, task state. Delete abstract keyword and initial class. And create task list. And in the constructor, initialize it as an empty task list. Insert the list as a props. Next, we implement tasks event. Initially, we have 3 events. Add task. In this event, we add new task to the task list. It requires a task object. Next event is update task. With this event, mark task as done or undone. Later we have more event, but for now, last one is delete task. In this event, we delete selected task from the task list. Next, tasks block. Here we control events and emit new task state. So, on each event we tell the block what it should do. And for each event we write its logic. On add task, function receives current event and emitter. And here we just emit new state with new task list by adding new event task object to the total state task list. We leave empty the other two on update task and on delete task for a while. Later we implement it. In the task screen, let's extract this list view builder widget, give a name, cut it, and we put it into the separate file. Then, import libraries. Now, we don't need this task list. It's time to implement block provider in the main Dart file. Just wrap material app with block provider, then write block name, which is tasks. And before importing, let's collect all block imports in the block exports file. And here we import only one import file, which is block exports. Final thing, in the main function, just wrap the run app with block overrides.runZoned. Now we can implement task block in the task screen. Wrap the scaffold with block builder and import block exports file. At the moment, we don't have any task in the task list, so just for a while we add it manually in the main function. Save and hot restart. Next, we implement model bottom sheet to add tasks. It receives build context. It has context in Builder, we use single child scroll view so that the widget can be scrolled. Furthermore, in Show Model Bottom sheet, it must have bottom padding with media query of context view insets bottom. Then, in the model bottom sheet, we will have many widgets vertically, so we need a column. First, text field. To insert task title. In the controller, create text editing controller object. Call this Add Task in the Floating Action button. Save and hot restart. Let's test it and we design it step by step. Add text widget. And in the text field, add input decoration, label and border. And we need some padding for the column. In text field, make autofocus true. This makes our text field active as soon as we press the Add button. Save and hot restart. And now, our model bottom sheet is getting larger. Let's extract this container widget. Give a name for the widget. After that, we need two buttons, Cancel and Add. Cancel button just closes the model bottom sheet. And in the Add button, we create new task object according to user input. Then we call Add Task Event to add the task to task list. Note that If context.read does not appear in your case, make sure that you must import BLoC exports file. After that, it closes the screen. Because of the column widget, the two buttons place vertically. Let's make them horizontal. For that, just wrap them with row widget. And make main axis alignment space evenly. Now it's okay. As you can see, we added task 2, but when we open Add Screen, the text task 2 is still there. This issue comes from the title controller, because in the separate widget we have still the old title controller. That's why we are seeing old value. Let's separate the Add Task Screen widget. Create new Add Task Screen file. And import BLoC exports file. An important thing is that don't send title controller via parameter. Create text editing controller in Add Task Screen itself. Now, next small issue is that when I press floating action button and type something, it's not writing until I click in the text field. For example, right now I'm typing, but it's not writing. For that, make this task screen stateful widget. Save all files and hot restart. And now, as you can see, I didn't click inside text field, but I am able to text in it. Copy this line of code and paste it here so that we can add new task via plus button in the app bar. Now it's time to implement update task event. Take this state and event task to other final variables. Now we update the list and create new task list, removing the old task. Now add the task with updated value. If old value was false, we add the task with true value, otherwise with false value. After that, emit the new task list. And we call this update event here in the checkbox. Let's test it. As you can see, it's working fine, but it's adding new updated tasks to the bottom of the list. But it should add its own position. For that, first we need its index. And we insert it in its position. Don't forget to hot restart after it changes. Now, it's working perfect. Next, implement delayed task event. It's very easy. If you want the post tutorial and first, try it yourself. So, you just need to emit new state, removing the task from the state task list. And here, in list style, on long press, we delete the task. Just long press and task will be deleted. Later we change the delete method. Delete this initial task here. So next, it's time to save state changes in local memory, so that when you hot restart the project, it will not go back to initial empty list. Go to PubSpec YAML file and add hydrated BLoC package. Run Flutter pub-get and export hydrated BLoC imports to BLoC exports file. As your experience from the previous tutorial, try to implement hydrated BLoC into the project. After that, you will see my solution for this. So, go to Task BLoC, change the BLoC into hydrated BLoC, create two missing overrides and go to task state file. Generate JSON serialization. And as usual, delete unnecessary parts we only need from map end to map. And here, in the task block, just return task state dot from map and send this JSON. Here, in the toJSON, just return state dot to map. That's all. And now go to main.dart file. Add here the word hydrated. We need path initializer, so go to PubSpec YAML file and add path provider package. Save and run Flutter pub get. Go to main. As I told you in the previous tutorial, hydrated storage will call native call, so we need to initialize widget bindings before we start building our app. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to call the native call. Now, we can create storage variable which is equal to hydrated storage.build, and we have to show its directory, which is application document directory. Then, import path provider if it's not auto-added. We will get this directory in the future, so we need async and await here. Now, we can implement its storage. All done with the main file. Let's test it. Add some tasks. Add mark any task as done. After that, press hot restart. Wait a little and nothing is changed. Now close the app and reopen it. Still the same, it didn't go back to initial empty list. Congratulations, hydrated BLoC is working perfect. One last thing, we have a little bug here. When you add several tasks with the same title, it doesn't work as we have expected. We check or uncheck one task, but another task will be checked. Because the tasks are totally the same, even if the equitable package considers them that they are totally equal. The solution of this is adding task ID in the model. Here I'm using Ctrl-Shift-Down arrow key to duplicate the line. Just add ID everywhere in the model like me. So, that's all. And now, here we create a task not only with a title, but also add an ID to it. Go to README file and copy this GUID ID generator. Create new services folder and Dart file in it. This GUID generator class auto-generates 16-bit ID. And here just call this GUIDGen.generate and returns an ID in string format. Let's test it one more time with the same title. Delete previous tasks and create new. Everything is working fine. Please comment your opinion about my teaching method and was this first part useful for you. Subscribe, like and share it with your friends. See you in the next part. So in this part we are going to learn how to implement drawer, recycle bin folder, app router, and we use Flutter BLoC to store removed tasks into the bin folder. Furthermore, you will learn many other Flutter widgets in the tutorial. So let's start. Let's implement new text style for completed tasks. We check the condition. If task is done, then decoration will be equal to test decoration.line_through. Otherwise, it's null. And we know that this task is done is always equal to false or true. It's never equal to null. That's why we put here exclamation mark. Now we can see the line when task is done. We'll write here many code later, so let's separate this list style. And import all imports. Implement here task counter and it shows how many tasks we have. Add one task and it will be increased. Next, let's add navigation drawer. Create new file for the drawer and initialize it giving its name. I name it my drawer. Wrap the container with drawer widget. And in the task screen, insert the drawer. And in our app, the background of the top part must be visible. So let's wrap it with Safe Area widget. Insert text widget as a child of the container. Next, we add navigation bars to the drawer. First, navigate to Task screen. And the other to the bin folder. Separate them by divider widget. Next, we implement recycle bin folder. It's almost the same with task list. So, copy the scaffold widget. Paste it. And adapt it. Delete this button and change the title. Next step. Now it should navigate to Task screen or Recycle Bin screen when we press the drawer bars. So we need to implement App Router. We do it in separate file so that our main file stays more readable. And here, in the app router, we implement our main function, which is onGenerateRoute. Here, in the switch, we check router name. Before it, let's give static ID for each screen that we navigate. We use static because static variable or static function is a method defined as a member of a class, but we can directly code without creating an object instance with the constructor. In other words, a static method is a port of a class instead of being a part of a specific instance. And for each case, we implement different material page road. We also can use these road names directly in string format, but implementing it as an ID is best and safe way because you never mistype it. So, it's ready. And in the drawer, let's make this list tiles pressable. For that, wrap it with gesture detector. And here on tape, we control the navigation. First, it navigates to task screen. At the same in the second, but now it navigates to recycle bin file. That's all here. Now final thing, go to main file, and here shows that rows that we have created. Next, insert task counter in the drawer. Just wrap the widget where we need to block state. And instead of 0, insert state all task lengths. By the way, insert app router here in the task folder if you have it. Next, we need to implement BLoC for removed tasks. First, we add another list for removed tasks. And add removed task list everywhere as I am doing. That's all here with task state. And add the remove task event. Finally, implement here on the remove task. And here, on remove task, its logic is we remove the task from all task list. And edit to remove task list with making the is deleted true. In the drawer, set its counter. It's ready now. We can implement recycle bin file with BLoC state. And here, in the task tile, we have two different events on long press. Here not only delete task event, but also there might be remove task event. We check the task is deleted condition. If it is true, we add delete task event. Otherwise, we just add a remove task event. Here, null safety is asking to check whether this is deleted is not equal to null. We know that its default value is false. If we add remove task event, it will be true. So, it's never equal to null. We can just put exclamation mark. Exclamation mark means that we know exactly it never equals to null. And here, on long press, we just call this function. Let's test it. Add some tasks. And delete by long press. And they are not deleted, just removed from all task list, and they are here in the removed task list in the bin folder. It looks that our task block working fine, but pay attention. If we add other tasks, and here bin folder is empty. They must be deleted from bin folder when we remove them manually, like this task 5. Let's do it one more time. Remove one task, and it's here in bin folder. Add another task. Again, bin folder is empty. This is our mistake, logic error. Because here on add task event we are only emitting all task list. It means removed task will be empty when add task event added. So, add also removed tasks. Test it. Remove some tasks. And they are here in bin folder. Add new task. And removed tasks are still there. Another the same issue comes when we update tasks. Again, bin folder is empty. And use the same solution for it. Now, delete task event will be a little bit different. All task remains the same. We just remove the event task from removed task list. Now, let's retest everything. Add some tasks. Bin is empty right now. Delete some tasks from all task list. Update task. Add task. Delete task in bin folder. Everything is working fine. I think our efforts, our free course preparation are worth just like, so don't forget to like the tutorial and it motivates us. Thank you for liking it. And here in bin folder, we don't need to update the task, because the tasks are already deleted from the main task list. So here we check the condition. And if task is deleted false, it updates the task. Otherwise, it's null, which is disables the button. Comment below your opinion about the tutorial. Feel free to ask any question you have. Share the tutorial with your friends. That's all by now. See you in the next part. In this part, we're going to implement switch to change the app theme into dark or light mode using Flutter BLoC. If you are new on this channel, hit the subscribe button. Hi there, we are glad to see you in this part. Please, Like the tutorial to support our hard work and for more people to see this video. Before implementing switch in our app, I want to teach you one more important thing. Here, in the drawer, change the screen several times. We used push named in the navigator. This means that the screens are stacked on top of each other. And when you press back button, screens will go backward one by one. Collecting many screens in the stack is just kind of memory consuming, and we don't need the screens in the stack. So, we use push replacement named instead of push named. This push replacement named replaces the first screen into the second. So, that means there always be only one screen. Again, change the screen several times. After that, press back button and it leaves the app. That means we don't have many screens on top of each other. Now, let's implement switch in the drawer. For a while, make this value false and leave unchanged empty. And here, our switch, but now it doesn't work. Before implementing BLoC for the switch, let's activate it with stateful widget for a while, because when we press the switch, it changes its state, so we need stateful widget. Create a variable for switch value, set it as a value. And here, in set state, we update value by the value of switch callback. Let's test it. It's working perfect. Now it's time to implement switch BLoC. Before it, change this BLoC folder name into tasks block. And change it here to get rid of the errors. And we create another new BLoC for the switch. Just name it switch. And also change this folder name. Finally, in the BLoC exports, export this switch BLoC. Save and close the exports file. Now, let's implement switch BLoC state. As you see in the example of switch that we activated, we need switch value. And make named constructor. Insert switch value into the props. And in the initial class, create constructor to call superclass. Finally, delete the abstract keyword. Next, go to switch event. And here we'll create two events. First, switch on event. And second, switch off event. Next, go to switch BLoC. Here, initialize switch initial state, which is false. And now, it emits new switch state according to different switch events. On switch on event, it emits new switch state with true value. And on switch off event, it emits new switch state with false value. Switch block is ready. Next, we create AppSim class. It will be a big class. That's why we had to better create it in a different file in the services. For not consuming much time, I copy and paste the sim class details. Here in the dark and light sim, all elements are chosen one by AG Flutter team and tested whether it suits or not the project. And this AppSim class took us almost 1 day to test everything, such as colors, floating action button sim, text button sim, and so on. You can download it through the link in the description and create enum for the AppSim. In enum, we will have light sim and dark sim. So our AppSim class is ready. Now go to main class. First of all, we have two blocks, task block and switch block. So we must use multi-block provider. Just add the word multi and delete the single block provider. And insert providers list. First, tasks block. And second, switch block. And now go to my drawer. Here we implement switch block. Wrap the switch with block builder. Change the value into state switch value. And here we no longer need set state, so delete it. And instead, according to the new switch value, we add switch on event or switch off event. And also convert stateful widget into stateless widget. Wrap the material app with switch block. Then, according to the switch value, we change the AppSim into dark or light mode. Let's test it. It's working perfect. Now, we use hydrated block to save the AppSim state in the local memory. By the way, if you consider that this tutorial is helpful and useful for others, please hit the like button and comment your opinion in the comment section. Thank you for liking and supporting us. Before implementing hydrated block, let's wrap up what we have done until this time in this part. So, here in the main, the app changes its sim according to switch value. If switch value is true, that means it calls the dark sim. Otherwise, light sim. So, here in the app sim, dark mode mostly contains black and gray colors. And in the My drawer, when a user changes its state and turns it on, that means switch value will be true. Then switch on event is added and dark sim is set in the app. So, how to restart? And the sim came back to initial light mode. Let's implement hydrated block. Go to switch state, put the mouse cursor on the class name and press Ctrl+Dot and select JSON serialization. Delete Dart Convert and from JSON into JSON. And go to Switch block. And type the word hydrated here. Import block exports. And create hydrated block overrides. And as always, return here switch state dot from map. And here return state dot to map. That's all. Let's test it. Change app sim in dark mode, hot restart and wait. And it didn't go back to initial light mode. Now, quit the app and reopen it. Still dark sim. Congratulations, it's all working perfect. That's all for this part. Thank you for watching. See you in the next part. Hi there! In this part we are going to learn bottom navigation bar and completed tasks move to the completed task tab. So, let's begin with creating new Dart file for tab screen. Just now, create stateless widget. This tab screen will be our main screen and we should add it to app router, so create its ID. And also, in the main file, change home property to tab screen. Now, we should make big changes. First, move this add task function for tab screen. Create scaffold and app bar. And also, move actions. Insert drawer. And at the moment our body is test screen. Later we'll make it dynamic to change the tabs. Last movement. Cut the floating action button. And paste it here. And it's time to create bottom navigation bar. At first, we set bottom navigation bar properties manually. Just make current index 0. Leave on tab empty. And now, we create bottom navigation bar items. First, we have pending task tab. Set its icon in label. Second, completes task tab. Third, favorites task tab. Let's test it. It's working, but looks bad because of the two app bars. We cannot go back My Tests because haven't changed Test Screen ID into Tab Screen ID in the app router yet. Now it's working. So, let's remove Scaffold widget in the task screen, because we already have Scaffold widget in the main widget tree. I meant the tab screen. Now it looks better. And it's time to set up the navigation bars. So, change this task screen name into pending task screen. And create two new additional files for complete tasks and favorite tasks. And convert pending task screen into stateless widget. Other screens also the same, so copy this pending task screen elements and paste it into completed task screen and favorite task screen. Now go to tab screen and we'll complete tabs movement part. We have 3 tabs and 3 different app bar titles, so create list of maps. And in the map, key is string and value is dynamic, because we have different type of values. So first key is page name, and its value is task screen object. Next key is title and its value is string type. That's why we did the value dynamic. Next, create a variable for selected page index. And here, in current index, set the selected page index. And on top, we update the selected page index. In order to update it, we need stateful widget. Convert it into stateful widget. And now we can use setState function. Just place this in the setState. Now we can change the body according to the selected page index. Just go to body. And in the page details, first we'll put index and page name, which is the key of the map. With the same way, we can change the app bar title. Let's test it. Click the different tabs and it's working perfect. So, next thing we need to fix is that if we create a task, it will be seen in every tabs because here in every page we are providing with all tasks, which is not good. Let's separate them. Go to block state. Press F2 and rename all tasks into pending task. Press Alt plus Shift plus down arrow key to duplicate the line and rename it. We need completed tests and favorite tests. So add the completed tests and favorite tests everywhere like I'm doing here. Test state is ready. Next, we need to update the task block file. First, on Add Task, just emit the other state tests. And when we click the checkbox, it means our task is done, so it needs to be removed from pending task and moved into completed task. Now, we don't need to index of the task. And before updating, we get initial pending task and completed task list from the state. If the task is done is false, we write more than one line code. So, wrap it with curly brackets. Let's imagine, if we mark this task as done, it should be removed from here. It needs to be moved to completed task. So, we'll write its code. First, we remove. And insert to completed task as we use copy with to mark it as done. Next, we do vice versa. When we uncheck the task, we remove from completed task and add it to pending task. Don't forget to mark is done false. And emit the lists. Next, on the late event, just emit state tests themselves. And on the remove task event, remove it from everywhere. We don't need to check if it's pending task or other. Next, go to completed tasks. And here change this completed tasks. The same with favorite tasks. We almost done. Let's test it. Add some tasks. Mark task 2 as done. And it's here, in Completed Tasks tab. If you have any questions or if you don't understand any part of the tutorial, write down and feel free to ask in the comment section. And let's change the text here to see how many tasks are pending and how many tasks are completed. And do the same in the drawer. And now, everywhere we can see how many pending tasks and how many completed tasks we have. One more thing to change is that change pending tasks tab icon. Next, we need this floating action button in the pending tasks tab only. So let's make disappear it on the other tabs. Go to tab screen. And here, check the condition. If page index is 0, it shows floating action button. Otherwise, it's null. Let's check it. It's working. Thank you for watching. Tata for now. See you in the next part. Hi there! In this part we are going to learn how to use expansion panel list. And we make a little change such as adding description in our app. We use ExpansionPanel list.radio, which allows for at most one panel in the list to be open. As you see, when I open new panel, previous one is closed automatically. If you are new on my channel, subscribe and don't miss our next Flutter Real app tutorials. So, let's start. Cut this list view builder and paste it here if you need it later. Create ExpansionPanel list.radio, which will have children. And again, here we use tasklist.map. Add map returns ExpansionPanel radio widget, which has the properties of value, header builder, and body. And at the end we do it to list. Value must be unique, so that the currently selected radio panel can be identified, and we can use task ID for it. Next, header builder, which returns what the first line of this panel will be. It takes a context and a boolean. And we return task style widget. Finally, in the body, we just use text widget for a while until we implement task description. So, save it, and here is our expansion panel list. Next, in the task model, we implement task description. So, just duplicate the title line and change it into description everywhere, like I'm doing. Double check it. And here, in the Add Task screen, we also need to provide with description. So, add description controller. And create its text field. Min lines is 1 by default. Increase it up to 3 in order to make more visible space in the description field. And make max lines 5. Finally, add the description here. We need some padding to separate the two text fields. I do it only top and bottom. And here, when Add Task screen is opened, we cannot see the buttons until we close the keyboard. But there is a way to do it the buttons visible. Just go to Tab Screen, and here add Scroll Controlled and make it true. Let's test it. Now, the two buttons are also visible. It's magic, isn't it? Next, let's change the panel body. Instead of just context text widget, we implement task description. The title and description can be copyable and selectable. We inserted both title and description here, and we use font weight bold. So we must use selectable text.rich and design it as you want. I designed it like this in the picture. First, use text span widget. And second, in which we implement many child text span widgets. As you see here, all texts are combined. Let's separate them. Just use \n. This means the text after it goes to the next line. Ready, but we have some bugs here. Add new task. And expand it. Just wrap the expansion panel with single child scroll view widget. And now it can be scrollable. It seems the error went away, but we have another one. Add some tasks. And when we expand the panel, we'll have overflow because of the body part. Solution is just wrap the all with expanded widget. Let's test it. No errors. And here the body is in the center. To make it in the left side, I just found the solution that is wrapping the selectable text with list style. If you have another solution, please comment it. It may be useful for someone. And one more thing. If we create big title like this, here title will be more than one line. Let's add text overflow in the title. And now we see one line title and 3 dots at the end of it. Hit the like button and support our efforts. Ta-ta for now. See you in the next part. Hi there! In this part we'll implement edit task function, mark as favorite or unfavorite and more others. And this is the last part of the task app tutorial. As you can see in the picture, in the trailing we'll have two things. First, checkbox and second pop-up window. Let's build it with mixing row and column widget. Cut the list style. Paste and comment it. At first, create row widget. And as a child, first there will be a star icon to know whether the task favorite or not. And then, task title. Then checkbox. Checkbox will be at the end as you saw in the picture before. To make it at the end, wrap the icon and text widget with another row widget. After that, in the first row, set main axis alignment space between. As I told you before, in the main X alignment row widget has no limit. That's why task title goes infinite. We need to wrap text and the second row widget with expanded widget. Next, below the task title, we will need to show when the task created or updated. So, let's create the date. Wrap the text widget with column widget. And below it, create another text widget. Save it and here it is. To move the title and date to left, just set column cross alignment dot star. Add some padding to the left. And size it box between star icon and the column. Now it looks better. This is the default format of the date time, and you can change it into any format I'll show you here. For that, we need another package which is called Intel. Press Ctrl+Shift+P and search PubSpec Assist and type Intel. Run Flutter pubget command. Cut this line for a while. And using date format package, we can format the date. Here, select one of the formats. For example, select this one. And here is our selected format. Instead of this, we can write the formats manually in the string format. Write like this and be careful. The letter M must be in uppercase. And also, you can add hours. But I use this format. And also, I can add hour, minute and seconds to the format. You can try any formats and create your best choice. That's all with this format. Now we create pop-up window. To make it the same with the picture, we wrap the checkbox with the row widget, and as a second child we add the pop-up menu button. The pop-up menu button has item builder, which returns a list of pop-up menu items. And as a child of the pop-up menu item, I use text button.icon. Leave on preset empty. And set icon and label. Just copy it. And we make another 2 pop-up menu items. And pop-up menu item has its own on tape. Leave them empty and set on preset null. We already have the late function. So copy it from here and paste it. Let's test it. It's working. And one more thing. In the recycle bin folder we have the same pop-up menu, but it should be different. I mean, here must be restore and delete forever buttons. But first, let's extract the pop-up menu button. We cannot do this because of the on-tape callback. Now, separate the widgets. And here we create void callback. We have extracted the widget. Now, we change the pop-up menu item in the recycle bin folder. We need a task object. Here we use ternary operator. If task is deleted is false, we will see this pop-up menu, otherwise we use another one. First one is restore button. And second one is delete forever button. Let's check it. And here, instead of this, we can use restore from trash icon. It's all working perfect. Next, in the task model we add 2 new properties, which are date and its favorite. Add them everywhere like I'm doing. And now, while creating new task, we add its creating time. Create new task. And the creating time of all tasks are the same. Why it's like this? What is our logic error? Try to find and fix it. So, now I'll show you what's the problem. Go to task tile. It's building all tasks with the date time dot now. Instead, we need to use task date. Task date is string format. We must parse it into date time. Create another task. Now, that's all right with the date time. Next, we implement Add to Bookmark feature. Go to Task Event. For saving time, I created them before. And go to Task Block file. And its logic is also ready. I will explain it all one by one. We create task list getting initial task state. In this event, we don't know whether task is checked or not. And we also don't know whether task is favorite or not. This event makes favorite if it's not favorite, otherwise vice versa. If it's not completed and favorite, then it gets its index from the pending task, removes all tasks and re-adds it, making it favorite. And in the 87th line, it adds a task to the favorites list. Next condition, if it's not completed but favorite. In this case, again it gets its index from the pending task, removes all tasks and re-adds it, but this time with making it unfavorite. And in the 93rd line, it removes the task from the favorites list. And from the 95th line to 109th line, it works the same, but this time the task is completed. And finally, emit it as you see in the next lines. Now go to PopupMenu file. And here we create new callback. This callback likes or dislikes the task. And here in the pop-up menu item, we check the condition. And according to it, we set different icons. We do the same with label. And set the callback. Go to Test Tile and send the event callback . Finally, go to Icon Widget. And also, we use ternary operations to change the icon. That's all. Let's test it. The task is marked as favorite and it's also there in the favorites tab. Now we do it with completed task. It's all working perfect. Now we implement edit task function. Edit task screen is almost the same with add task screen, so we can copy the add task screen and use it for edit task screen. Now we adapt it. Change this into edit. And here write save. To change the task, we need all task. So we need to provide edit task screen with all task. And here, in the text editing controllers, we provide its initial text getting the alt task title and description. Finally, in the Save button, we create edited task in this way. ID remains the same. And its favorite state also remains the same. But its done will be false because the task is edited now, and it's almost new task. That's why we can consider it as unchecked. Before going on, we must implement edit task event. Again, in order to save the time, I already wrote it to you. But don't worry, I'll explain it all step by step. Here in the event task, we get both old and new task. Why do we need them? You will know it here in the task block. Just now, I just uncommented the edit task block logic. And before I explain it, I just want to finish edit task screen. So I've finished. What is wrong in the event file? Oops, I'm sorry, I didn't uncomment some parts of the event. And now I explain it. So first of all, we check whether task is favorite or not. If it's, then it's favorite task list, but the task will be updated in the new one. Then we emit task state. In pending task, we remove all tasks and insert new one because all edited tasks will be in the pending task list. And also, we remove the task from completed task list. We don't have to check whether the task is completed or not. We just remove it from both pending and completed task list. Don't worry, if it's not in the completed task list, but we are removing it from there, nothing will happen. It just checks and does nothing. So let's finish implementing edit task function. Here in the pop-up menu, we need edit task callback. And here we call it. And in the test style file, provide with the callback. Go to tab screen. Copy the show model bottom sheet. And here we reuse it. Finally, call the function here. Edit button does not work when we change and call the callback from here on pressed. It works. Telling you the truth, I searched the Google, Stack Overflow site, GitHub and other sites, but I couldn't find why it's not working with on-tape callback. But it's working on pressed callback. If any one of you finds or knows what's the problem, please comment it below. Let's check it. Edit this favorite task. As you see, the pop-up menu remains opened because we use it on pressed callback, not on tape. So, we add navigator dot of context pop here. Now that's okay. And this remove from bookmarks text is too long. Let's make it 2 lines text. Just add here \n. I think this is better now. Next, we implement the restore function. Go to task event and add restore task event. I just uncommented. And now we implement its block. So its logic is simple. We just remove the task from removed task list and insert it to the pending task list, making all is deleted, is done, and its favorite false, because restored task is no more completed and favorite. So that's all. It's very easy, isn't it? Now, go to PopupMenu file. Add restored task callback. And call it here. And provide the pop-up menu with restore task callback. Let's test it. In the bin folder, task 2 is favorite and uncompleted. Restore it, and it's here in the pending tasks tab. Next, we implement delete all tasks. In the task event, just write the line of code, because this event doesn't receive a tasks object. And here its logic is simple. We just emit task states clearing the removed task list. Next, go to recycle bin file. I change actions in the app bar and add pop-up menu here. Icon is delete forever, and it has delete all task callback. Delete some tasks. And now, in the bin folder, we can delete all tasks at once. We almost finished the project, but we have a little bug here. Here we have favorite task 1, and it's also here in the favorites tab. But when we complete the task and look at the favorites tab, it's unchecked. But the task is here in the completed task tab and checked. But it's not checked in the favorites tab. It must be checked everywhere when we update the task is completed or vice versa. The reason is I haven't updated the update task event after adding favorite event feature. Let's update it. I select the onUpdate task and pass new updated version. I prepared it before so that you don't get bored while I'm typing. So I only explain it. As usual, I get all task lists from the state tasks. If task is unfavorite and uncompleted, it will be removed from pending task list and inserted to the completed task list. The same logic as previous. But if it's favorite task, we change the logic. We get task index from favorite task list. And next 2 lines are the same as before. After that, the main updated part is here. We remove the old task from favorite task list and insert it at that index, making is done true. So next, if task is completed but not favorite, we go here. It again removes a task from completed task list and adds to pending task list. And finally, when the task is completed and favorite, we use the same logic as above, but this time we remove the favorite task from completed task list and add it to pending task list. And in the 59th line, we update the task in the favorite task list, making is done false. So that's all. Finally, we have finished. It may be a little bit difficult to understand what I explained just now, but it's not so difficult. Rewatch the tutorial where you don't understand exactly, comment it, read the code line by line, and imagine and deep think about what is happening there. I believe you will learn and understand it easily. This project has been finished. Subscribe and don't miss our next real app tutorials. Thank you for watching and supporting us. Ta-ta for now, see you in the next project.